Hello, I'm Dr. Terry James Gingras, and this is Dr. G's ADHD Chat, a show designed to make the world safer for ADHDers and, of course, their parents. I'm a clinical psychologist and neuropsychologist, and I'm also the parent of a couple of ADHD kids. And I say once a week to get at my in laws, I married into an ADHD rich family. So, uh, today I want to talk a little bit about my other hat, which is I'm also a behavior medicine specialist, which is back in the day, we were the ones who dealt with mind body sorts of experiences. My audio engineer has just let me know I'm going through. All right. Okay. So basically, what I do or used to do as a behavior medicine specialist was a lot of stress management sorts of things. There are tons of things people can do to control stress and better deal with it, I guess, would be more the way. Because, once you have knowledge and you know what's happening, it's a lot easier to control things and accept things, which is the other part of it. Okay. And for stress, in case you haven't noticed, being a parent of an ADHD kid is stressful. All the things that parents of neurotypical kids can just kind of float through and not have to deal with it all, and certainly don't have to measure and observe and make strategic decisions and all that sort of thing. Well, nearly as much, let's put it that way. There's a bunch they don't have to deal with. And probably the number one cause of stress for your child is that he or she is trying to fit into a world that was not designed for an ADHD brain. The old hunter mind in a farmer society kind of thing. Okay, first thing is stress. What is stress? Stress is a physiological response to a perceived demand. I've been using that definition for 40 years easily, probably longer. What it means is you are seeing something and you're thinking you have to do something about it. If you don't feel like you have to do anything about it, it doesn't matter. It's not stress. Okay? Sort of like what I used to do is if I'm sitting here and there's a 40-pound spider descending on top of my head, I'm not going to be stressed out if I don't know that it's there. The minute I know it's there, I am stressed out. I am probably reacting and running screaming from the room. But without my awareness, it's not stressful. Okay? So there are two things you can control there is your evaluation of the situation and your plan to deal with it. So stress management is, there are two parts to it. One is kind of trying to prevent it in the first place, stress that is, and the other is dealing with it once you're in full-blown stressed out mode. Okay, so the way you do it beforehand is you understand the situation and you have made your peace with it, and okay, you have an ADHD child. You may have an ADHD spouse as well, which makes it even more interesting. And there are certain things that are going to happen and that they don't have any real control over it. I mean, it is, well, you have people, and the one thing you have to have is understand. And a lot of things that get the neurotypical partner have problems. Even some, if it's two ADHD parents, it's a neurologic condition. There are certain things that are just going to happen, and you can't do much about it. You can't. I mean, you can try to cope with it, but some things are still going to happen. Sometime the car keys are going to be on the roof of the truck, like in that famous ADHD is often example, where what's his name? Penn had his wife drive 2 hours to the beach because he lost his keys. And when she got there, the keys were on top of his truck. Uh, that kind of stuff happens, okay? And you have to be able to kind of say, well, okay, that's something. He didn't mean to do that. It wasn't his fault. But of course, it was still his responsibility. But he wasn't doing it out of any animus, out of trying to get even with you or anything like that. It wasn't that kind of an issue. So don't make it one. Okay. The neurotypical parent, and a lot of times the neurotypical parent tends to be a little bit compulsive. They're the ones that are always cleaning up and wanting everything just so and trying to keep the room orderly, and they get stressed out because they might be the only one in the house who cares, notices that kind of stuff. It's so preventing yourself from being stressed out in the first place is about saying, okay, ADHD is a neurologic condition. He or she has got it, and they're doing the best they can, and I'm just going to have to accept that, and we'll deal with it calmly. Okay, that's the best, the ideal. If you can get yourself in that mindset, then there will be minimal problems, I guess. The thing, that doesn't mean you don't set limits with your child, but it means that you don't become a screaming, whirling dervish, because he kept his sneakers on when he got on the bed or whatever. It's ADHDers are generally pleasant people, have a good sense of humor, but they can be amazingly unmoved by what's going on in the environment around them. They just, well, and sometimes for those of us who aren't that way, it's stressful. It's stressful. We start to respond to that, and one of the first things you need to do as an ADHD parent is first of all, figure out your favorite bad emotion. We've all got one, in a given situation where things aren't working out quite the way I want. How am I going to respond? Am I going to get angry, frustrated, irritable, sad, anxious, feel guilty? We've all got one, and it's one of the things that happens that we learned growing up. It's not genetic in any way. It's just I watched my parents, how they handled things, and I had experienced how I was treated in certain situations, and this is what I came up with. Okay, and if you don't like it, you can change it. Okay, it takes some time, it takes some effort. Probably it takes a therapist or a coach, and but it is, I believe, worth the effort. It's you're worth it, and you'll be a lot happier in your life. Okay, so just control the amount of things that throw you off your game, that get you upset, that get you thinking. Well, depending on what your mode is, that, oh my God, I'm the worst parent in the world, or I'm going to kill something. Either way, it's futile, and it's not worth it to you or to the people around you. So learn how to control it beforehand. First step is to know what it is. What's your favorite bad emotion? That's one of somewhere I developed a test that measures that. I might have to look through my stuff and find it and get it out to y'all. But knowing what your tendency is, you can protect against that. I do not want to go off the wall, out and do bad stuff, say bad things, say things I don't mean, just because I'm angry. Now, given with an ADHD child, you've got way more opportunities to get upset. Just the whole going to bed at night and getting up in the morning routine, especially when they're school age, it's like, it's a major effort to get them out the door, and you've got to do some planning. You can't just, oh, well, we'll get up and we'll go and da 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 da. It isn't that easy. You have to have strategies in place for how you're going to deal with the morning routine, how you're going to deal with the getting ready to bed for bed routine. Do you have your external displays for executive functioning, in their bedroom, in their bathroom, so that they know what the morning routine is and what the nighttime routine is. There are different programs out there, or different products out there that help you with that, that show you little pictures of brushing your teeth and brushing your hair and getting your clothes, all that stuff. That is a checklist kind of thing where you put I think it's a little metal thing that clicks to a magnet when they've done it. And so that helps deal with that, and that lessens your stress. So you need to know the adaptations that you can use. Now we have AI now, artificial intelligence, and that can do a lot of things for older kids, especially to help them not do their homework necessarily, but be better organized. And I was just reading a couple of articles about that today, and it looks promising. But you've got to understand that your child has problems with executive functioning, problems with emotional regulation, problems with what they're calling time blindness, and all of those things are going to cause you problems with the routine stuff. The getting up in the morning, the going to school, the keeping track of homework, doing the homework. All those things are extra stressful for an ADHD family, and you don't have. Typically, you need to work pretty hard to get extra help with that and extra knowledge about that. That's why I started doing this stuff, actually. Okay, the other interesting part about ADHD that's particularly potentially stressful for you guys as parents is that yelling and punishment don't work. When I was a kid and my dad raised his voice, whoo, I hopped too. That was a long time ago. He was a former drill sergeant. It was advisable to pay attention to him and do what he said. ADHDers, it kind of doesn't work that way. That their dopamine levels go even lower when you yell and scream at them, and it's not the kind of thing you want to be doing, because it doesn't work very well. Okay, punishment is not a good thing for ADHD kids. You can still set limits. Okay, I'm not saying that, but you got to do it without being punitive about it, without cracking the whip all the time, and those sort of things. You've got to do it calmly and with some control. And there can be, certain things that they don't get because they didn't do what they were supposed to. But, none of this, sit on the stairway and don't move kind of things is just, it doesn't work very well. And I don't, it's, I was never much of a yeller anyway, or I wasn't big on corporal punishment or any of that stuff. But I've been spanked. I know what it is. I know nobody dies, but it's not effective for ADHDers. And the big thing you've always got as an extra stressor is that you have to worry about your child's self-esteem, and in ways that neurotypical parents of neurotypical kids don't have to. They can assume that the environment's kind of balanced. But as I say this once a week, ADHD children on average get 70 critical comments every single day. Teachers, coaches, parents, the lunch lady, all kinds of stuff all the time. And that much criticism does bad things to the way you think about yourself. Am I lazy, crazy, stupid? What's the matter with me? Kind of thing. And that's not what you want. You want to be raising a resilient child. But of course, that also puts more pressure on you to stay focused and calm and stick with the plan and that sort of thing. And that's stressful. So once you get stressed, what do? How do you handle that? Okay, well, first big thing is self-awareness. Okay, everybody gets flustered every once in a while. When is it starting to build up? When is it starting to be a regular thing? It happens all the time. And I'm starting to lose my energy, and I'm starting to feel down emotionally, and I feel like I've been hopped up, on too much coffee for days, and I don't have any energy left, but I'm all jittery. You got to recognize that your stress is getting to be overwhelming, because stress is not anything to be everybody got stress. Not as much as we have. In general, we have more stress in the United States than other countries. Other countries think it's cool to take an hour and a half lunch and sit at a cafe and talk to people and da 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 da. We're in a hurry. We are always in a hurry. And as a country, that's not good for us. As individuals who have stressful home life, it's even less good, if you will, for you. So what you have to, for self-awareness, okay, I'm starting to get overstressed. I need to do something before, and you got to know what happens to you. Some people, they get the big ones. They get the migraine headaches or stress headaches or increased pain, back pain. Some people get upset stomachs. Some people get diarrhea. There's also usually an organ system that you have that is one of the indicators that you've been under too much stress for too long. Well, some people it's just sleep rather. I'm a champion sleeper. I go up to bed, close my eyes, and go to sleep. My wife, she tries to solve all the world's problems, then she can go to sleep. Of course, sometimes that's 3:00 in the morning, but you've got to know what your thing is and what lets you know that you're stressed out. And then you've got to start, okay, what can I do to stop the stress where it is right now and not let it get any worse? And, some of this is stuff that you can't really talk about in a 20, 30-minute podcast, but, in general, you need to know something about relaxation, meditation, something like that. And you need to do that all the time, because it's a skill. It's not something you're born with. I just can't do that. Well, you can if you stay with it. Eventually, you'll work out how to get the desired response. But you got to do it every day. Don't wait until the emergency before you start. Oh well, I guess I'll practice my meditation now. It's not going to work. Okay, the other thing is with meditation videos, don't think that means your mind is going to go blank and you're not going to think about anything. Brain isn't designed that way. It's always on. It goes all the time. It lets you know everything, especially when you're trying to get to sleep. Your mind sometimes goes back to the worst thing that ever happened to you in high school or stuff you don't even, where'd that come from? I don't know. But your mind is always going. It's always going. And so when you're trying to meditate, just you can direct it sometimes. A lot of times people use simple things like focusing on your breathing, which is the easiest one to teach and the hardest one to actually do. But you just, okay, I'm paying attention to my breathing, and whoops, I wandered off and started thinking about the grocery list or something. And then you go back and, okay, no, back to my breathing. Da, da, da. And, gradually it's easier to stay focused on just your breathing. Some people, especially highly visual people, just make a picture of a relaxing place in their mind. And that's their low stress place. That's where you go when things start to get out of hand. And there's always, there are, back when I was doing a lot of this stuff, there weren't a lot of things available. There weren't, well, first of all, uh, computers and cell phones and all that stuff were not roundly available everywhere. So, but now they are. And now, there are tons of free programs on the internet that, will help you with relaxation. Relaxing sounds is one I like a lot and use regularly. And, you've got to look around and you got to believe that it's important to do this, because, all of this stuff you need to do regularly. You need to do before it's an emergency. Other things that work are like journaling works pretty well. I have a collection of steno books that I started when I was in my 20s, and have been doing, I used to just wait until it hit the fan, till stuff was really bad, before I'd start using it. But then I just started doing it on a daily basis. And it is very helpful. It gives you a perspective, something about getting it from your brain to your hand to the paper, gives you some distance from it. It's not as immediate and as painful as it used to was. Okay, so those are our two main things, and having a relaxing environment. For me, clutter just drives me nuts. So I try to make sure that my office is clutter free, that my home, or at least the parts of it that I control, is clutter free. I can't control the other people in my household, which they don't have the same thing about clutter that I do. But you set up your environment, okay, so that it doesn't stress you out just looking at it. It's just, oh, this crap. Oh, look at all this junk everywhere. It's like, where are all these papers? No, figure out your organization style and use it. Okay, that will keep the environment from causing you increased difficulties. And make sure things are under good repair. That's also one of those stressor things. And try to have your life relatively organized is another thing that you have to feel like you're in control. Being out of control is stressful. And ideally, something about the way emotions are generated. Most of what we talk about is what's called cognitive behavior therapy. And that's basically the idea that emotions are caused by the way we think about things. And all of us have heads filled with a bunch of really extreme beliefs, and not about everything, but we pick and choose, and somehow we've ended up with certain ones. And one of the first ones is self-esteem things. Oh, I'm worthless, or I'm stupid, or I'm weak, or I'm something. We all have some fear in that area, and just our personal identity, and we need to work on that. We need to change it yourself. Go for it. It's a lot faster if you work with somebody. I'm not plugging therapists or coaches, but there's a reason that there are those professions, and they are important for you to use. It's more efficient, get you to where you want to go faster, and that's a good thing. Okay, so I am a little bit over my normal length of time, but I'm thinking about doing a formal program on stress management for parents of ADHD children, and probably be, I don't know, 6 or 8 sessions. I don't know. But let me know if you have any interest in that. Um, Probably be about an hour long, and with some detailed training in different kinds of relaxation training and meditation techniques, cognitive behavior techniques, a little bit of life structuring uh, and management techniques. And anyway, so it's I don't know. I'm going to have to charge something for that because I got to put a lot of time into researching and updating my stress management programs. But it won't be a lot. I mean, if I wanted to be rich, I would have gone to law school. So, okay. So I will catch you next week. On my website is terrygingrassphd.com. If you're interested in coaching, I do a fair amount of that as well. And you can sign up there. We have Calendly, which I'm starting to not be terrified by, but it's actually a pretty good program. But we will catch you next time. And in the meantime, remember, the world isn't designed specifically for ADHD people. And we have a lot of folks who don't understand ADHD and that sort of thing. And our job is to educate them and build a safer world for our ADHD children. So fight the good fight, and we will catch you next time.